Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. The Season 5 Reloaded update gave us a lot of very surprising updates, right? Obviously, we've been covering a lot of them here in the past few days, and one that I think a lot of players were particularly excited about is the buff to the AMAX. AMAX has been all over the place recently. Obviously, at one point, way back on Verdansk, it was one of the GOAT weapons, the absolute meta. After the nerfs that it saw, it slowly fell off. In the Vanguard era, it sort of fell off. Not all that long ago, it got a surprise buff that made it very strong, and then they hardcore nerfed it for no reason, right? Well, they rebuffed it, and now we're looking to see if it is in fact back in that meta conversation. So that being said, we are here on true game data. First things first, let's see what changed with the AMAX itself. So in the patch notes, they ended up buffing the range and then also the torso multipliers. So when you look at combination shots, this will basically show us that the range has changed. The pink line is the pre-buff, the new one is the orange line is the new one. So you can see here the initial range before was 25 meters, now it's 29 meters, so you get that extra 4 meters. That's pretty solid. Of course, these are just the base weapons, no attachments. When we throw on a muzzle and a barrel, that'll extend a little bit in each direction more, but you can clearly see the newly buffed AMAX does have that slightly better range, so already looking a little bit better than before. But then we also want to look at the chest shots, because that's the TTK and that's the multiplier that ended up changing, and this is relatively significant. You know, we're looking at almost a 1/10 of a second here with the changes, but just because of this TTK multiplier. You can see our new one here, 811 at 29 meters versus 25 at 0.9. So we're almost looking at a second long TTK here, and you do basically have a second long TTK at 25 meters, whereas this one's only 900 milliseconds, which is pretty solid considering that was a very minor multiplier tune. So clearly, when you're hitting chest shots, which is one of the largest, hitboxes on the body, the AMAX is going to be feeling a whole lot stronger. But of course, we also have to compare the newly buffed AMAX to all of our other main meta and competitive rifle options. So in this graph that we're about to look at now, we got the AMAX, obviously best muzzle, best barrel. We're going against the STG and the Automaton, two top tier Vanguard rifles. I wanted to throw the KG in there as well because that's still getting used a lot, I've noticed. We also got the Grau and the M4. I want to see how this compares to some other MW weapons that are super consistent, and we get some pretty interesting results. Clearly, the KG-M40 is not even in the conversation. This thing's damage drop off is so bad. So we're gonna go ahead, we're just gonna delete that off the graph, but I did want to show that just for the laughs. But then, well, obviously what we're focused on is our orange line here, our AMAX, and you can see through the first 42 meters here, which is our now new initial damage range, it is basically identical to the M4 and the Grau, surprisingly. These two are basically identical. AMAX is slightly behind that in a very minuscule way. Not necessarily something you'd always notice in game. If you were to, land every single shot with all three of these guns, you probably couldn't tell the difference in that actual TTK. Then after the damage drop-offs, our M4 drops off a little bit more harshly than the AMAX, and over range, it is the second best. Our Grau has a slightly better initial damage range, but after its drop-off, it's a little bit slower, and what do you know, the AMAX comes out on top. Now again, this long range difference here, not necessarily something you'd be able to easily point out in game. That's a very small gap here in the overall TTK, and keep in mind this is with perfect accuracy, but when push comes to shove, the AMAX now after this buff is feeling a whole lot more competitive. You can see it is significantly better than things like the Automaton and the STG, two of which are top tier picks right now in the overall meta. And you can actually see here when we go on Warzone ranked, what do we have up at the top? Obviously no AMAX in sight here, but we got the M4, which is up there, the Grau, which is up there. So realistically, the AMAX should be right here because it is basically identical to these two weapons in game with the exception of its recoil pattern. But STG is up here at a 3%, the Automaton's at a 2.3. We have to go all the way down to a 1.5, essentially a 1.6 to find the AMAX right now. It's like pretty low on the list in comparison. I fully expected this is going to start bumping up and up, definitely overtaking the KG-M40 because the AMAX right now is just significantly better. And frankly, there's actually a couple of different setups you can run depending on whether you want to be playing on a resurgence map like Rebirth or Fortune's Keep, or if you want to be playing on Caldera. So we've got our AMAX here, and by the way, as we are breaking this down, if you guys are new to the channel or if you have not subscribed yet, every single day I got you covered with news, updates, loadouts, tips, you name it, you're gonna find all of that right here, most days twice daily. So feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications, help us on that road to 1 million subs. And if you guys do enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like on it. It does seriously help promote the channel and promote the video. But like I said, we got a couple of different setups here. Of course, we know the basic long range one. We're looking at monolithic suppressor. Zodiac barrel is going to be the best for range in this case, best range, velocity, and control. We want the commando foregrip on there because there is that decent horizontal and vertical bounce here, so the stabilization will help out there with that just general control. For the magazine, we got the 45 round mags. Unfortunately, that is the largest option here, so we are pretty much forced to go for that. And then I also have the VLK 3x optic on here. Obviously cleanest sight for long range. We go ahead, we throw in that T-pose reticle. This is like the standard long range, mid to long range I should say, setup for, I would say, primarily Caldera. Now this is certainly usable on Rebirth for what it's worth as well if you wanted to, or same deal with Fortune's Keep. However, you could sort of optimize this setup if you wanted to for some of those smaller maps to make it feel even more aggressive. Obviously, as we saw in the mid-range there, this thing is absolutely frying from, you know, 20 to its initial damage drop off at 40 or whatever meters. So it's really good for Rebirth and Fortune's Keep as well as Caldera, and it's a pretty simple change, honestly. Also, quick reminder, if you guys are ever looking to cop a pair of Gamer Advantage glasses, Code Immortal always has you covered at checkout with that nice 10% discount. I wear these glasses every single day. Personally, I love the Horizon frames, but they have a ton of different frame options. They offer prescription or regular lenses. Absolutely love these things. As mentioned, I wear them all day, every day. If you ever want to get a pair for yourself, link is down below. If you want to use this more for mid-range and make it more aggressive, simply drop the commando foregrip, go ahead and throw on the tack laser. This will end up helping out with that aim down sight speed and that aiming stability, so it's going to be a little bit more consistent. It still is going to have basically the same recoil pattern just because of the properties of the tack laser here. Commando foregrip is not like the biggest game changer ever. It's noticeable when you're fighting 70, 80, 90, 100 meters, but in mid-range, not so much. And this is a setup that particularly I love to use on an aggressive loadout because it does feel a lot faster, a lot more snappy, and honestly can surprise you compared to more standard long range one that's a little bit slower in the grand scheme of things. But is the AMAX back? I mean, based on the stats, the M4 and the Grau we both have as top tier rifles. With the AMAX being right there, I'd say without a doubt in my mind, it is now back in the meta conversation. Not the absolute best of the best, you know, just because it does have that slightly slower movement speed, the smaller mag, the bit of recoil, but right there at the top of the competition for sure, which you absolutely love to see. The end of Warzone 1 is really a lot more welcoming towards a lot of these older sort of throwback weapons that we haven't seen in the conversation in quite some time. So the AMAX is in fact back. Love to see it. This thing is going to be an absolute beast on all maps, so definitely jump in, try it out if you're looking for something to experiment around with. That being said, that is going to wrap things up for this one. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. It would be seriously appreciated. And if you guys are new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post noties, because I got you covered with all things going on in COD every single day. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.